Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Jerry Sansing again. It's March 29th, Sunday afternoon, nice and breezy outside. I just want to put enough seconds up here on the banner to identify the show and tell you what date it is. This is also available on YouTube if you want to go and see this before the fact on Channel 10 Public Access cable. Then go ahead and go to YouTube and put in Gerald, G-E-R-A-L-D, Sansing, and South Texas News and Reviews will crop up for you. I'm going to go ahead and start the show. Thank you. Okay, I'm very disappointed with the Board of Trustees up at Coastal Bend College in Beeville. This exemplifies from a person's view up there, a taxpayer, of what's going on at Coastal Bend College. I'm going to discuss this in a minute. No one has yet to prove to me that the situation up there of the president hiring her daughter and then I guess that would be niece and brother and nieces and Lord knows who else up there is not a blatant case of nepotism. So I'm going to go ahead and just follow that up. I just wanted you to know that this was sent to me and I thought it was pretty well exemplifies what's going on at Coastal Bend College. Anyway, be right back with you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, looks like everything's moving right along here with the camera. So I'll go ahead and take my spot over here at the table, and then we'll have a discussion of a few items that are near and dear to my heart. And one of them is, I'm the board member of an organization here at Del Mar College, which is my employer. Okay? And that organization is the American Association of University Professors. And that national organization, folks, is designed to make sure that colleges and universities and so forth and so on, higher education, adheres to two basic principles. Number one is academic freedom, and then the other is shared governance. Now, academic freedom means that I do have freedom in my classroom to discuss various things that I want to do, and I'll put that in reference in a little bit to what's going on at Del Mar College, where things are, as far as I'm concerned, a little bit out of line, even with that organization. When people accuse others of being inferior, mediocre, and not quite up to par with some of the other faculty members there at Del Mar College, which I take great issue to, because since I teach mostly traditionally, that's always served me well throughout my career. I had one hell of a good research career too, and I was taught traditionally, and I'll get into that after a while. Now, shared governance is when the schools and the administrations and board of trustees, in the case of Coastal Bend College, should be in touch on a daily basis with the faculty senate at least, and then faculty members to find out what they need. Now, I did go up to a board meeting this past week, and it was on the 24th of the month. And well, let me back up. I went to a meeting, a special meeting of the Coastal Bend College District, the Board of Trustees, and that was on March the 16th. And at that board meeting, I was a bit surprised that they did not provide the public with anything resembling a public comment session. Now, I'm looking up, that may have been legal. I'm not an attorney, thank goodness, okay? But it bothers me when I have the feeling that people are sneaking around and doing things that shouldn't be done. And I've noticed that with the Board of Regents at Del Mar College. That's a very sneaky group at times. And the administration goes with it, and I'll discuss that also. You know how I feel about the Board of Regents at Del Mar College at times. But there was no public comment section. And then we heard about all this blather about all these changes to all these rules and stuff, compensation and benefits, salaries and wages. There's a document here that's been scratched out, a whole bunch of it, and rewritten and everything else under the sun. And I don't know what that's all about. it was said to be for the benefit of hiring the best people you can get in as instructors at Coastal Bend College. Now I take issue with that because I'm going to read something in a minute, and I've been up there for years, and then we've got the agenda minute order number 4A and all this stuff that went with it, personnel management relations, employee complaints. They've rewritten the complaint and grievance policies up there. I don't know what some of those attorneys have to do up there. I know that both of them have been involved in cases that I've had here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I must admit, folks, you know, I'm not impressed if Coastal Bend has to engage people like that. It's painful enough to know that they were engaged by Del Mar College, but that's a different story, okay? Now, there were no public comments on that one, which kind of, you know, floored me just a little bit. And what I did then was I needed to inform you that there were some banners around town up there that indicated that there was nepotism that was proposed and exposed and so forth and so on. And I was the lead dog, I guess, for asking for the investigations of the annex up there with the Coastal Bend College Board of Trustees when they hired the current president, and then turned around and allowed that president to hire her sister, and her sister is in a deanship up there, which I don't think she was qualified for. I've looked at all those personnel records, and you know, I'm old enough to know who qualifies for something and who does not. I've been on enough screening and hiring committees. When I was in industry, I had to hire a lot of people into my research group at a industrial research facility, antibiotic division, and fermentation division. So I'm well aware of who's qualified and what to look for and so forth and so on. And I did last year, after a friend of mine got fired up there for a reason that she should never have been fired for. Excellent nursing professor, a PhD nurse, who was the director of nursing at Coastal Bend. But I'll get back into that in a minute. But what happened was there were several banners. These were printed up and hung in different yards. There were 3 of them originally that said something about nepotism being practiced at Coastal Bend College. And then there was one that followed that up that was hanging for quite some time over by Tractor Supply across from Walmart. I'm not advertising for them. And then a new one, since the Board of Trustees appears to condone anything like that. You know, there some of them, the majority of them on that Board of Trustees, were totally enamored with their presidential hire, Dr. Beatrice Espinosa. And so there was a new banner for $303.10 worth that was put up over there at Tractor Supply at the same place that these people who put the banner up, okay, and it belonged to, I took the old one down. Now that didn't last. I think I took it up there on a Saturday morning. I picked it up in Corpus for the crowd up there. There is a gang of people up there. It's called the Coastal Bend Rebuild Group. Rebuild, I think, is the name of it, Coastal Bend College. And there are a bunch of people that have been fired. There's people that have retired. There are people that are very concerned about the mechanisms by which things are happening or not happening, whichever the case may be, at Coastal Bend College. So here's a banner for $303.10, and it was down within 24 to 48 hours. Someone went over there and took it down. Now there's been some controversy about who did that, but let me just give you my idea of what happened. Okay, this is totally speculation, and so let's see what happens. Now, if you've got something that somebody else owns and puts up in the public, it belongs to that person, and it should not be taken down by anything except the local legal authorities and the police department or whoever, okay, or maybe the state, because the sign doesn't meet codes if it's on a state highway or whatever. But just to have that thing disappear is not a real mystery to me. Now there are two groups of people that would be interested in removing that sign. The first would be the administration and of Coastal Bend College, the one that I believe has committed the nepotism, okay, and any of their cronies. And then since this did mention the Board of Trustees specifically, condoning nepotism, letting the public know that their feelings about that, and said that they thought that was nepotism, then I would say that one of the Board of Trustees, or several of them, along with that Coastal Bend administration, sent people out to take that sign down. Now there have been several vehicles that have been implicated in that, and people cited over there where the thing came down and a new banner for something else was put up. But there was the first two out of the 3-yard banners disappeared just overnight. Boom. That's been some time ago. One of them has been watched pretty well and is in a secure place where if somebody does go over and pilfer that, then it would be very obvious. But an action that happened just after this last one, the $303.10 banner, I mean, that's a lot of money, folks, when people want to pay to express their opinion. And as far as I'm concerned, we still live under the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. And that's the reason I'm telling you about this, because I'm exercising my freedom of speech. Now, there was a person in a little gray Cobalt, I think it is, Chevy Cobalt, young female, that was going to take the last of the 3 banners out of someone's yard, and the neighbor said, "Wait a minute, whoa Nellie, what's going on?" I think it may have been some teachers across the street from this house at a schoolyard. Said, "What are you doing?" "Well, I've got permission to take this down." "Well, who gave you permission to do that?" "Well, I can't say," and then scurried off before that banner was stolen also. So folks, you know, do you have no pride up there in Beeville? I mean, can't you leave things alone? That's theft as far as I'm concerned. It's just blatant, flat-out theft. Okay. Now, so I did go up there to that 16th meeting. I was appalled at what happened. They went into the private consulting in there, and you know, they said they can go into that anytime they want to, executive hearings or whatever they call that, and that means that you don't have the public know what's going on behind closed doors. Okay, so that to me, you know, just gives me a little bit of a charge when I see that. And then it's you know, the attorney consultation. Okay. Should be, yeah, the board will close meeting in accordance with the Texas Meetings Act. Now, I did travel back up there for the full meeting. Let me just say that one thing that came out of that closed meeting was I think that the president of Coastal Bend College was awarded a raise in her pay. Now, that should have been made public. I didn't see it in the newspaper. I follow the Beeve-Picayune all the time, and not much is reported there. I think they're under the thumb of Coastal Bend College and the Board of Trustees and their foundation and all. The paper makes a lot of money up there by the advertising of Coastal Bend College, you know, and that's a lot of money, folks. They don't want to have to lose if they just tell the truth every once in a while. So, or just tell people what the news is. Okay, so who took the banner? Was that the administration or the Board of Trustees members? Now, I did go back up there. They screwed up and picked a night that I'm not in class at Delmar, which was Tuesday, March the 24th, not quite a week ago, since today's the 29th. And here's some things that came into play, okay? They did have public comments, and I'm going to mention a young student, nursing student, that did comment. I made some comments there, and I'll read them to you in case you missed it up there, Coastal Bend College residents and Beeville residents. But they had, under the business here, they had the consideration and voting on the 2 processes, the change in the complaint and then the change in the pay and so forth, compensation. So they didn't act really on either one of these. They said they were going to postpone it till the next meeting. But there's an attorney that I have had I'm just not going to say it. I've seen her in action here in the firing of one of the best nursing professors in the country, Dr. Janelle Bennett, from her job here at Del Mar College. And that one ain't over either, folks, just for your edification. But I've seen this woman get up there and not exactly tell the truth in front of that dismissal hearing. So I'm real leery. And then I went up there for the April meeting, and she was there giving these people in a workshop before the regular meeting some advice, which I thought should not have been in the public. She's a very hard gal to miss, and I don't think she was real thrilled with me sitting there with my TV camera, my video camera, taking care of it. Okay, that's Miss Cynthia Cano. And then there's another guy that I've had some experience with up there, Mr. McKinney. Okay, I think his first name is Philip McKinney. And he's been at some of the trials and so forth that I've been involved with, and again, I'm not real impressed. So, you know, I would think that the trustees could probably, you know, at least pay attention to past experiences and call Del Mar College, although Miss Cano, from what I understand, Miss Cano, okay, went to school with my president down here, Dr. Mark Escamilla. So there's some tie there somewhere. And it, you know, I mean, it's all intertwined. It's a good old boy system and so forth and so on, which you taxpayers out there have to bite the bullet at times. Now, I went to this meeting, and in the very beginning of that, under the public comments, you have the invocation and then members and visitors present, and there was supposed to be introducing and inducting a new Board of Trustees member. He didn't show to the meeting. I think he's an attorney. I hope he pays more attention to the legalities and he can spell nepotism and so forth. And let's see if we can get that problem solved up there. But anyway, under the public comments, the young lady that spoke first is a nursing student, and she spoke for several nursing students up there. And apparently what happened last semester in the fall, there was one student, and I don't even know her name, couldn't care less, that did not fare well and was not passing some of the courses there in the nursing program. So she went and found an attorney and went over and had a talk with the president of the school ultimately, and the president said, well, you know, we can't do anything about that. What we're going to do, though, is I don't know if it's a friend, neighbor, another family member or what, but apparently there's some intertwining there. But this student now gets free reign of that coursework again, rather than have to reapply for the program this next fall and sit out. But apparently the student, the one gal that's in the program, was raising Cain because 20 some odd students have to make way while that one student gets special one-on-one treatment, and then she's going to be able to I guess pass that and then stay in classes with this semester. So I'm not real sure exactly what that's all about. On next show I do have a videotape of that young lady speaking to the board and pleading with them and the Board of Trustees to say, hey, you know, what is this president doing taking liberties like that? And I think it's despicable, to tell you the truth, to give somebody special privilege like that. And I'm going to address special privilege in my Department of Natural Sciences here at Del Mar College shortly. Okay? But here's what I told him. Now, there's a Mr. Morrill, I think that's the way he pronounces it, who's an attorney there, local attorney, and he's been nominated to take over for Mr. Carrillo, who stepped down from the Board of Trustees. Now, he was supposed to be there, and they were going to induct him into that. Apparently, he was over at City Hall resigning from the City Council. So I guess he's quite the politician. And I just hope that the man will listen to what's going on when people present things to him at Coastal Bend College. Yeah. But here's what I said, I said, Mr. Morrill, please listen. I didn't know what he looked like, so I didn't know if he was there or not. But I made the following statements to the Board of Trustees. Now, before they fired Eloisa Garcia a little over a year ago, okay, a year and a week ago, roughly, then I was outraged about her treatment there. She's a friend of mine, and she was a colleague. She was on faculty here at Del Mar College for a while, and then she went off to other greener pastures for a short time. And then she was hired as the director of nursing at Coastal Bend College, Dr. Eloisa Garcia. Okay? And then in her contract, she had clearance to go for 2 days a month to keep her nursing practitioner certificates in place, which is a real plus for Coastal Bend College to have her with those certificates. And then I guess she got crossways, or the sister of the president got crossways with her because she wouldn't knuckle under to some demands that were not just absolutely, I'll just say it, kosher. Okay, so I've been up there since I think it was January 2014, attending some of these meetings and trying to support Dr. Garcia. And then I met some really fine people up there that had been jerked around just as hard as Dr. Garcia was. And the problem at Coastal Bend College is they want the best instructors they can get for the cheapest amount of money, but they do not have a tenure system. Now we've got that at Del Mar, much to Del Mar administrators and the Board of Regents members goes. They'd love to dump all of us tenured faculty members. But what that is you earn the right to have a certain position, and then if things get tough, then they do what they can to maintain your employment there, and they just can't without, just like they did at Coastal Bend College when the Dean of Workforce got mad at a faculty member or a director, then just go ahead and have them fired. Okay? It prevents that. Now you're not going to get the best educated and the best people to teach at Coastal Bend College unless you can offer them a little bit more security than that. And they've fired an awful lot of the old timers that get a little bit perturbed when they come in and get this family affair, as I called it. But anyway, here's what I said. I said, been attending for over 1 year, and I have been very disappointed in the actions of the trustees and the college administrators. That means Coastal Bend College, which I am, folks. It's really perturbs me deeply to see the way that they treat people up there. It's not anywhere near what we need with the AAUP as far as academic freedom and shared governance. Like I say, I'm a board member here at Del Mar College on that one. Okay. All right. Now, the function of administrators, meaning the president and ultimately the board of trustees, is to hire the best faculty members and then leave them alone and let them, and then what you need to do is your fiduciary responsibility is to provide those faculty members with what they need to teach their students. And that's it, folks. You don't need to be in everybody's life. You don't need to be milling around. You don't need to be trying to fire people and everything else. You need to just stay the hell out of the business. If you've got good faculty members, leave them alone and make sure that they have what they need, facilities and the equipment and so forth, to teach the students. That's the whole mission. It's not to bring your family in and include everybody up there on a paycheck. Okay, which is the way I see what's happened at Coastal Bend College. Okay, and it says I said the trustees should not be allowed or not allow the administration to become a family affair and run off excellent faculty staff members, which they've done. So there is a family affair there, obviously. It's called nepotism by law, and I can't get anybody up there on the trustees to investigate that and ask the Attorney General's office and ask the Workforce Commission and everybody else, if that was something that was legal or not. And then I'll talk about this one attorney up there that I have no faith in whatsoever when I look at his record with the Public Information Act requests and so forth. Okay? I said, you trustees are elected to protect the taxpayers' money and provide students with an excellent education. This has not happened at Coastal Bend College, and I can prove it. You can just go ask that nursing student, or those nursing students. Okay? So that's what's happened up there, folks. And then they said one of the reports was the business office internal audit control status. They said they're going to tighten that up. I saw their internal control status addressed at one of the audits of that place, or the last audit done at Coastal Bend College, and it's abysmal, folks. It's enough to make you want to sit down and cry. It's almost as poor as we have down here at Del Mar College, and I won't even. I'll get into it in a minute. You know, the accounting irregularities run rampant here at Del Mar College. I don't know how in the world people aren't wound up in federal court and this is slammer. Okay? And then if you get the copy of the CBC Coastal Bend College mission statement, it says that the administration and the trustees and so forth are going to hire or hold everybody to the highest integrity possible. Well, when you go and fire people, folks, unjustly, and you jerk them around like that, that's not, doesn't show me much integrity. I don't think there's much left at Coastal Bend College, okay? No. Then we get this flashy hard card here for 50 years celebrating education in South Texas, and it's got a picture of Dr. Espinosa sitting there beaming with two students, and then they're saying that they've got all this money around here, which I think they're giving away. So if you've waived $1,445,733 for dual credit students at 38 local high schools, folks, you're not doing the taxpayers of Coastal Bend College any big favors by doing that. And I won't get into what I feel about dual credit students. That's the mainstay of the claims at Del Mar College, that we've got all these wonderful students and we're bursting at the seams and so forth. As our total enrollment goes down, even by including dual credit students, it's still falling at Del Mar College. I'm going to lose my voice, which I know is going to make a lot of people sad out there. But I'm going to hang in here. Okay. Now, I just want to read some of this to you, okay? And this was to the members of the Coastal Bend College Board of Trustees. In the past few weeks, I have seen several signs in Beeville stating that Dr. Beatrice Espinosa, president of Coastal Bend College, has violated nepotism laws of the state of Texas. She is accused of hiring her own sister, Julia Garcia, as Dean of Workforce Education and Economic Development. This is a legal issue which I find distasteful and frightening. These are my words, okay? Surely you as Board of Trustees members need to investigate these charges. It is your responsibility. Beyond the legal scope of the nepotism violation, there are also ethical considerations concerning the hiring of Julia Garcia. It says, and I've looked this up, folks. I've seen the hiring records up there. I got the privy to those. I examined those through my Rights Under Public Information Act request last year. So a lot of these things are things that I have uncovered up there over the past year. So my question would be, how many persons applied for the position of Dean of Workforce Education and Economic Development? There were over 6 that I saw. I've photographed all that. All I have to do is go back to a CD disc and I can count the number. Now, more than half of those people had earned doctorates, either a PhD in a subject or an EDD, a Doctor of Education degree. And I don't think Dean Julia Garcia, I think she was within the last maybe 3 or 4 years, she finally obtained a master's degree. So there were some really highly educated people who applied for that job with some real good, strong credentials. And I don't know how this person came out on top, except her sister's the one that ran the hiring committee. Okay, what qualifications of education and experience were looked for in the ideal applicant? okay, then there weren't anything in there in the ad that was totally explicit with that. The ad was obviously written for a single person. I saw the ads, folks. I requested copies of those. Who screened the applicants before sending names to the selection committee? Well, I saw the signatures of Dr. Beatrice Espinosa on them. Okay? Was any pressure brought to bear on the committee members to agree to the selection of Dean Julia Garcia? Well, I've been told, it's been reported to me that yes, there were. Now, I need sworn affidavits to that, so if I need to go back and get those, I'll do so. Okay? Did the selection committee willingly sign off on the application of Dean Julia Garcia, or was her name brought to the board solely on the recommendation of Dr. Espinosa? Well, as far as I could tell, it was the lead on that was Dr. Beatrice Espinosa, and then I guess she had some people that signed off on that. Okay? And I said, I believe there is documentation that should help you investigate the ethics in this matter. This is to the Board of Trustees. Okay? As a citizen and taxpayer, I want Coastal Bend College to make the best decisions on how to spend our money. Please take responsibility for investigating hirings and expenditures brought before you by Dr. Espinosa. Do not assume that her decisions are necessarily the best ones. After all, you are in charge. And I'll reiterate, it sounds like a real family affair to me up there. And I, as a taxpayer to the state of Texas and federal, I'm not a direct taxpayer to Coastal Bend College, then it concerns me, ladies and gentlemen. And I know we're getting a lot of people up in Beeville that are watching this on YouTube, so welcome, folks. And if you do have any questions of me, would you please just email me at Gerald, Gerald, Sansing, okay? No, that's YouTube. Okay, let me back up. It's G Sansing. The letter G for Gerald. It's Sansing at gmail.com. And if you want to see this on YouTube, then you go into YouTube and put in Gerald Sansing. And South Texas News and Reviews comes up, along with the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association supported show, which is what's happening in Corpus Christi. I just happen to be serious enough about protecting my tax money and the taxpayers that I am the president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association. So if you think I get off on B County, you ought to wait and see what I do with the city of Corpus Christi, Del Mar College, the county down here in Nueces County, and people that are bleeding me dry of my tax money. Okay? All right. Now, under the nepotism, I went ahead and I requested an investigation of that to Mr. Aliseda, who is the district attorney up there. He turned me down, said that his prosecutorial choices up there were able, enabled him to say, bug off, Sansing, you're not going to get this. Okay, but I'm not through with that one yet. Okay, I'm going to keep stirring it with the Texas Attorney General, and I'm going to stir it with the Workforce Commission, and we're going to get to the bottom of it yet, along with the state auditors. So, put your seatbelt on up there, trustees. It's going to be a bumpy ride here for a while, because I don't give up on anything. Okay. Now, when I did this county attorney, Mr. Aliseda, blew me off, but Michael J. Knight, who's a county attorney for B County, then he sent me a letter that says essentially that I didn't know what I was talking about, and everything was dandy up there and above board, legal, kosher, whatever way you want to put it up there. Okay, so I'm pursuing this with the Attorney General's office because people have called the Attorney General and given them the information on this, and they have indicated that no, what he has cited, Mr. Knight has cited in here, is not proof that there was no nepotism that was conducted and done at B County at Coastal Bend College. Okay. Then, in order to back that up, I've got a letter essentially of reprimand for Mr. Michael J. Knight from the Attorney General's office of the state of Texas. This was when Greg Abbott was Attorney General before he was governor. I think Ken Paxton is now the Attorney General, so I guess he's going to learn to love me too. But this one was in reference to some stuff that Mr. Knight failed to do when he was presented with the Public Information Act request, okay, concerning, okay, criminal cases from 2009 to the date of this request in which the county attorney was the prosecutor and the case was either rejected, uncharged, or dismissed, and documents in which the defendants in the requested criminal cases made a donation or donations to the Coastal Bend College or any of the college's affiliated organizations. Now that smacks to me of improprieties. And then I've got several letters that have been written to the editor of the County Picayune newspaper. And this one goes ahead and says, rather than taking the college's word, a simple search of the Attorney General's website would have informed Mr. Knight that letter advisory number 156, 1978 had not been overruled, modified, or withdrawn. A little more research and Mr. Knight would see that letter advisory number 156, 1978 has for decades been used as a precedent included in opinions from years 1986, 87, and 2006. So, folks, you know, I think one of the biggest problems with Board of Trustees and college presidents, I know it runs rampant down here with our Board of Regents, is, you know, they are so brilliant and they know so much about everything that they can blow us stupid taxpayers off, okay? You know, at Delmar College, by a lot of these people over there, the president, some of the Board of Regents members, the administration, like Vice President of Instruction, the dean, my department chair, and all think I'm just a basic troublemaker and a moron, okay? And you know, that's a pretty hazardous approach to take. And I do know that one of my fellow faculty members thinks that I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm doing because I teach courses on a traditional basis. And I would be willing to say that when he professes to be this great researcher in the sky, if he'd like to set my resume and publications and my years in industrial research and med school research and that sort of thing in undergraduate and graduate school, then let's get it on there, pal. Then you can go into the 2012 Texas nepotism laws. You can go into the Attorney General's office or the Attorney General of Texas website, and you can print out a copy of this and then see what you think about nepotism up there. And then I won't get into all of the businesses that President Espinosa and her sister, Dean Julia Garcia, Dean of Workforce at Coastal Bend, are involved with up in San Antonio, the private businesses up there. And then they fire somebody for taking money from a clinic at 2 days a month to keep up their certificate, which was a key to success for the Coastal Bend College nursing programs. And that's after they sanctioned it, that it could be done. I mean, it's incredible, folks. All right, well, I've made enough friends and influenced enough people, I guess, up at Coastal Bend College with this. So I'm going to go and take a little bit of information to my local people down here, and that is the Delmar College. Now, when I was informed, and I wasn't informed by anybody directly from Delmar College, that a course that I know that I traditionally teach had been shuffled off to another faculty member and put out a sequence. I teach it once a year because that's about what it takes to fill the class up to 24 students, biology students. And they decided they'd run, since I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm doing over there, I'm substandard because I teach traditional classes and I really don't know anything about the research business and I don't know anything about microbiology. I'm just kind of an idiot, the village idiot around Delmar College. but I've just been doing it long enough. Well, I got to thinking about that, and I said, I'm going to ask some questions. Now, on February 15th, a very good friend of mine, Mr. Ed Bennett, and he's a CPA. He's the one that's trying to get to the bottom of some $2,838,000 and some odd cents write-offs at Del Mar College, which consisted of $54,000 written off for Texas A&M University, Kingsville, $42,000 for the U.S. Navy, and it goes down through a whole litany of people that ought to be able to pay their bills, but those have been written off. And then we've uncovered some real problems with a conversion from one accounting system to another, and a lot of those numbers add up and are looking, I'll just put it this way, I am real concerned about the accounting irregularities that we've uncovered at Del Mar College. And we ain't through yet, folks. And I know people at Del Mar College are pretty attuned, and they watch this show. Okay? Now, I was a bit concerned about the cost of running a golly gee whiz course in microbiology, the majors class. And I've got something in here in response to where they advertised it as being a real, what is this? You get to work with fungi from an Apollo moon mission. Now that's what people need when they're taking their first microbiology class. And you know, I don't know. It's a golly gee whiz approach to this, which is ludicrous. But anyway, back in February 15th, Mr. Bennett wrote a Public Information Act request to Dr. Mark Escamilla, president of Del Mar College. That's who we address him to. He's turned that duty over to the Director of Human Resources and peanut grinding and underwater basket weaving and everything else under the sun that used to be under our Chief Financial Officer. But anyway, and there are certain rules and regulations, folks, on the timing when people file a Public Information Act request. This one went in on February the 15th of 2015. And here's what he's asking for. Any and all documents, which are letters, emails, notes, memos, telephone logs, etc., associated with the justification and establishment of an out-of-sequence biology course, okay, in the spring semester of 2015. Now, the response to that did not come, we did not get this paperwork until March the 27th. That was 2 days ago. And we went over and picked it up. It was Xeroxed, okay? And it says, item 1 of your request, responsive documents provided, okay? Well, there's nothing in here that says that we can justify that class, okay? And it says that it gives all these ads for all this wonderful stuff, okay? And all it is advertising around campus to get enough students to make that class go. Now, the limit on that class is 24 because of the lab space and safety. But all I get out of this were a whole bunch of please contact the Department of Natural Sciences for details. We've got this razzle-dazzle microbiology going. And then it says here in the catalog description, it says prerequisites, biology 1406, chemistry 1412, or their equivalents, or instructor's permission. Now, I've never given a single student in the 25 years I've taught it permission to not have completed all of the prerequisites. They're necessary for an individual to understand the content of that class. Now, I realize I'm not taking the athlete's foot fungus off of an Apollo 11 astronaut or whatever that garbage was that they put out that you're going to get to do in that class. But I do know for a fact, and I asked for this and I did not get the information, folks. I asked for how many of those students did not qualify under those prerequisites. So what the instructor did is just blew it off and said, you don't have to know this. You know, I'm going to waive the prerequisites so I can get enough bodies in there to teach that class. All right, so that was the first thing, justification. Any and all documents, and that includes letters and so forth, associated with the cost of equipment and supplies that have been or will be purchased for the conduction of the class. Now, I'm not an idiot, and I hear what's going on around there and the amount of money that's being spent to support that particular class, okay? And that was my item, that was Mr. Bennett's item number 2 under Public Information Act request. So here we go, item 2 of your request, no responsive documents. You mean to tell me that Del Mar College can't justify to the taxpayers how much money was spent to run that course? Now, folks, I saved that institution $120,000 a year making my own stuff. Yesterday, I spent 5 or 6 hours over there making up equipment and solutions and growth media for my class in the non-majors class, in the allied health. And then I do a lot of extra work there in the fall when I have this special class, the majors class. But do you mean to tell me over there at Del Mar College that you're going to lie to the taxpayers out here and lie to Mr. Bennett? And that's what it is. It's a lie, folks. You can tell exactly what was ordered for this. All you got to do is go ask the young lady who orders the stuff and say, okay, how much was ordered for that particular class? And when was it delivered? And I've seen in the business back here that there's at least $10,000 transferred to go into supporting that class. And I guess they figured they wouldn't let me know under that request, but they slipped and put it in the back. Okay. Number 3, any and all documents indicating the total student enrollment and any existing documentation that all students had completed the suggested course prerequisites. Number 3 on her response here. This is the great Tammy McDonald, who's the Executive Director, Human Resources and Administration, and the College Public Information Act Officer. She's the one that gets all this, because I guess that president doesn't know how to do it. Okay? All right. So my request for existing documentations about how many students were in there and whether any of them had completed the prerequisites that are published in the catalog or not. It says responsive document 1 provided for total student enrollment, okay, which is 14. Then it says no responsive documents that all students had completed the suggested course prerequisites. So whoever is responsible for that, for not only putting that course into action, but teaching the course, is totally irresponsible as far as I'm concerned by waiving prerequisites just to get enough students to fill it up. Now, there were a whopping 14 out of 24 that signed up, folks. Okay? All right, so here you go, taxpayers. You've been duped again. They're not being honest with you whatsoever. Now, you know, and there's a massive, people say, well, how can you, aren't you afraid to go over here on the air and say things like this? No, I'm not, folks. There's a big push right now, and I'm going to go public with this. There's a big push now to start putting disciplinary action letters in my personnel file because I tell people the truth over there. And there's a big push to do the same thing to me that they did to Dr. Janelle Bennett, and that's to fire me, or to go over and change my locks like they did with Dr. Bruce Olson, the head of the Social Sciences Department, who's also a PhD, and he was a history professor. Their biggest problem was they thought they'd scare him off as a retired Army Colonel, Special Forces Airborne Ranger. And that didn't work because the 13th Court of Appeals just said that after 2 years, after they locked him out and through the court battles and so forth, that no, he still is an employee at Del Mar College as far as the 13th Court of Appeals is concerned. So I don't know where that's going to leave Del Mar College. But all I can say, and I've asked the Del Mar College hierarchy and the board of regents and the administrators over there and anybody else that's concerned about me, fire me. I really don't care. Okay? If you got enough backbone to try that, just go ahead and do it, folks. And you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay. That's not a threat, folks. That's a statement of fact. All right, number 4, any and all documents related to the hiring of a teaching assistant for preparing and conducting the laboratory component of that class and the cost of that hiring semester. what they did, since that instructor lets students take care of an awful lot of the business in his classes, they hired a young lady that's almost got her master's degree, I think, from Texas A&M, Corpus Christi in micro, to go over there, and as far as I can tell, she's making up all of the solutions and stuff, ordering stuff and so forth, and maybe even making up lab quizzes and so forth is the rumble I've got. I will verify that. That is hearsay. I admit it right up front. But you know, if a guy can't teach his class, then I don't leave the lab for an instant. I don't have other people teaching my lab, particularly other students, and paying somebody to go in there and take care of all the stuff I'm making. Now that's going to change, I think, real quick. So if you guys want to start padding that $120,000 it's going to cost you to do what I'm doing over there for nothing, then taxpayers, call your Board of Regents members and everything else, okay? So we have one page identified as requiring redaction of confidential information, such as personnel confidential information is allowed under this, that, and the other, okay? So they held back, I guess that was they call her a teaching assistant, which we don't have at Del Mar College for anybody else. But I guess with her social security number and all that, I didn't want that information. I know who she is, and you know, I just hate to see her being put in the bind because of these people over there. Now, speaking of which, I'm going to protest, and so is Mr. Bennett, the fact that it took from February 15th until March 27th to get that information. Now, I can go through all this also with another request that he made on the same date, okay? And this was, let's see when the request was. I guess I've got that one in a different pile. It was the same date, and it was asking for some pages that they said inadvertently that they had left out of a certain request when Mr. Bennett went back and asked for more information. And oops, we inadvertently left out a couple of documents. Well, it was about 170 pages worth of documents, folks, a lot of which is handwritten by the comptroller over there. I would think that Del Mar College could at least, if you're going to handwrite stuff, have a lined paper, like a legal pad to put that on. You got to go like this to get the answers on that. And it took from February 15th until March 27th to get that. And it had already been asked for before that. Now they're going to be raising unmitigated hell at Del Mar College because I'm going to pack it up one day on a Friday where I don't have classes and nobody's around that day anyway. If they don't have classes, and you know, a lot of times the administrators aren't there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little trip and introduce myself to Attorney General Ken Paxton, and I'm going to figure out how we can stop this delay and bobbing and weaving and not giving the taxpayers what they asked for under Public Information Act request. And the city's just as bad, okay? So I'm going to take a whole suitcase full of documentation up there, and we're going to see if you taxpayers out here can get a fair shake when it comes to obtaining information. And I'm going to also take the stuff from Coastal Bend College up there just for the people who are watching this from Coastal Bend, if you've hung in here with me this long. Okay? So something's got to give, ladies and gentlemen, because this is unacceptable to me as a taxpayer. It's my money, and I hire these people, and I vote for these people to take care of my money and do the right thing for me, and not just self-serving family affair for you up there at Coastal Bend College and all the crap that goes on down here at Del Mar College. I mean, I'm tired of it. I really am. And as the president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, I have not yet begun to fight. You see, that came out of some of my background in the 1770s when my former my people from my past, okay, that I have inherited this I guess gross as they say, propensity to raise hell. And they were up there in Boston and off the coast when old John Paul Jones says, "I have not yet begun to fight." And that was the spirit that has been passed down in my inheritance to me, folks. And I won't get into my father again. I mean, he taught me to never back off, okay? Do the right thing and never back off. Then what we have is with these accounting irregularities, one of our Taxpayers Association members, I think I had mentioned this on the last show, had asked and said something to Mayor Nelder Martinez about the accounting irregularities that we have been reporting, Mr. Bennett and I, at Del Mar College to the Taxpayers Association. And then the Executive Director of Strategic Communication and Government Relations, Claudia Jackson, Ms. Jackson, wrote Ms. Perkins a letter after it came from Nelda Martinez, Mayor Martinez, back through the President, Dr. Mark Escamilla, that Ms. Perkins was asking about the accounting irregularities. So we get this, Ms. Perkins gets this nice letter from Claudia Jackson with all this material in there about what's going on. And then there was an award for outstanding achievement in popular annual financial reporting. Now, these documents, these popular annual financial reports, have absolutely nothing to do with the write-offs and where the money's going and what's spent for what, and the administrative bloat that's costing you people a fortune out there to hire more of these administrators to go over there and stir stuff up and cover this up and whatever else is going on over there. And education is taking a back burner. And then you got enough unmitigated gall to say, to get down on one of the Board of Regents members when he says that he believes that the Del Mar College education is sliding into mediocrity. And he picked that up from me. I've been saying that a long time, folks. I've been there 25 years, and I have never seen anything quite as poor as all that. So anyway, I'm just going to show you this report, and then we'll wind it down. Here's one I showed you last week. This has absolutely nothing to do with the financial status or status of Del Mar College, okay? And this is it. This is the popular annual financial report, and if you go through here, there are all these slick stuff. The college financial report, you know, and it gives you how many millions in assets and stuff they spent. But as far as the nuts and bolts of this, where in the hell did the $2,838,000 write-offs go? And why can't we collect $54,000 from Texas A&M Kingsville and $42,000 from the Navy? And then that one was a real slick one on 2012-2013, and here's the 2013-2014. It's a little bit thinner, but it's got the same stuff in here, the jazz band and music buildings open, and it's got the DMC transportation training receives this much money, and all the surge tech, and you know, all this stuff, pictures of Dr. Escamilla on one of the local magazines where he's trying to convince you to open up a Southside campus for millions and millions and millions of dollars, and trying to convince you, ladies and gentlemen, that the enrollment is going skyrocketing. We're bursting at the seams. Now take a little drive out there to the corner of Yorktown and Rodfield Road and look at that brush patch out there with all those weeds overgrown in that field and stuff, and tell me that we're taking care of business over there, okay? And that we've got everything mowed down and we've got everything just wonderful out there, and we're going to build this super campus out south. I'm going to shut it down with that fine word, and then I'll be right back with the banner. Okay, it appears I've got about 50 seconds here left. I'm just going to go ahead and reiterate that we do have this available on YouTube. Go into YouTube, type in Gerald, Gerald, Sansing, and the South Texas News and Reviews will come up, as well as the other show I said that I'm doing for the Taxpayers Association, which is what's going on in Corpus Christi. And then Mr. Bennett, if you want to know where your tax money and all is going, he's got Ed for Del Mar Regent. Go into YouTube and put in Ed, E-D, and then B-E-N-N-E-T-T, Ed Bennett, and his show will crop up, and that's very enlightening, folks. He's a CPA accountant. So anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.